Good day and welcome back to the Hipkins Twins YouTube channel. On this last day of 2025, it is New Year's Eve and today's topic, ghosts. That's a pretty good topic for the last day of the year, wouldn't you think? So, as you can see, I'm holding up a children's book here. And this book actually belonged to my brother, Jay. And it was given to him Christmas of 1978. So he was 10 years old when he received this book, and it was made by the Scholastic book company. And it was a series of books that they made on various topics. I had a similar book on UFOs, and there were other books on like sea creatures and stuff. We never received any of those, and we just had those too. But I remember reading this, and there's still some stories in here that I remember. And one of them in particular, it stuck in my mind for the last, 47 years, almost 48 years now, was Tom Colley's ghost. And I will read a little bit of it to you. First, I'll show you the illustration. It's on the first or the second page in the book. And there's the illustration, and now I'll read to you the story. So Tom Colley's ghost. In 1751, near the town of Tring in England, an old couple were beaten and drowned by a frenzied mob who thought they were witches. The leader of the mob, Tom Colley, was later arrested and sentenced to death by hanging. When he was dead, his body was suspended from the gallows like that shown on the right. Inside a gibbet, a cage of iron hoops and chains, it was left to dangle there as a gruesome warning to other lawbreakers. People believed that a person's spirit could not leave the earth to go to the afterlife, heaven or hell, without a burial ceremony. So Colley's ghost would haunt the spot where he was left to rot. Other ghosts were thought to be the spirits of people who had been murdered or who had died very suddenly. Colley's body in its gibbet was suspended at a crossroads. It was thought that his ghost would be confused by all the roads, therefore it would not be able to find its way back to take revenge on the people who had hanged him there. To this day, Colley's ghost is still said to haunt that crossroads, and some say that they see a large black dog in the area, and that somehow Colley's ghost has turned into this black dog. Now, how a ghost happens in the first place, I don't know. But how it becomes how a human ghost becomes a dog, it's even more perplexing. So I did a little research on Colley, and it is a true story. This happened in 1751 in the town of Tring, which is in Hertfordshire, a county in England. And Colley was one of many that led a mob that they accused a woman by the name of Ruth Osborne. They accused her of being a witch. And also her husband, John, I guess he would be called a warlock. And apparently they were peasants. And they actually went to a farmhouse. How it all came about was they went to a farmhouse and were begging. And the farmer at the farmhouse, I guess he was tired of people coming around begging. He told them to, take a hike. And as they were leaving, Ruth Osborne turned around and mumbled something under her breath, which the farmer took as being a curse. And of course, back in the 18th century, there were a lot of people that were superstitious and still believed in witches and curses and such. I guess there's still some people today that believe in that stuff. So apparently that the farmer, his crops failed that season, and along with other people's crops. And they blamed Ruth Osborne saying that the curse that she put on this farmer caused the crop failures. And so they accused her of being a witch. And in those days, there was a test that they would do to verify if a person was a witch or not. And how they would do it would be they would dunk the person. It was called dunking or ducking. I've read some places they say that it's called ducking, but dunking or ducking, whatever they call it. But what they would do is they would put the person in a chair and throw them in the water. Now, if the person sank, then the person was cleared of all the charges. Now, of course, if the person sank, 99% of the time, they were probably dead. But if somehow the person floated, I don't know, maybe they were in a corked chair or something. If the person floated, then they were considered bewitched and executed. So either way, the outcome wasn't going to be good. So Tom Colley, and there's some sources say that his name was William Colley, was just one of many of the mob that performed this dastardly deed, and he was the only one that was charged, and he was, of course, strung up in this gibbet. And I'm going to show you the illustration again. Here it is, and that image has stuck with me for many, many years. But a little bit more on that, on witches. I think the last witch that ended up being ducked or dunked was in the late 18th century, early 19th century. So there was still people that believed this, up until the early part of the 19th century. So just a little bit of a interesting tale there. And if you like ghosts, I got many more ghost stories to tell. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.